You guys are very, very loud. How do we have sound? Oh, jeez.
They feed back until somebody picks them up.
Hey guys, what's up? Hey, so you guys, who here doesn't know who I am? Because I found out last year, some of you sat on this panel for no good reason last year, did not know who I was. Everybody here know who I am? Yeah. All right, so before we talk about retro gaming, let me talk about my history with retro gaming, or as I just call it, gaming, because I'm an Atari 2600 master race in here. I've been playing video games since most of you were a dirty thought in your daddy's eyes. So, I didn't know what a video game was until I was about 3 or 4 years old. And we walked into a place called Maws and Paws, a little ice cream shop in Southwest Virginia. And they always had pinball machines there, and I loved pinball machines. And one day, they moved in this new, weird-looking pinball machine called Pac-Man. And it wasn't a pinball machine. It didn't have a table or anything. And I was obsessed with it. I looked at that game and begged my brother for a couple quarters, wanting to give up my ice cream money. And that's saying something for me. And wanted to play this game, and in order to play this game. And they say that the video games you play influence you as a person. I don't know about that. Because if that were true, Pac-Man was the first video game I ever played. I would be round and eating pills all the time and being chased by ghosts. Oh shit, I'm Pac-Man. But as a sick kid, all the time, I had pneumonia a bunch of times by the time I was age 5. I was hospitalized over and over and over again. And my mom felt terrible because I couldn't play outside like the other kids with the asthma and the allergies and the breathing issues. And one day she was at the store and she picked up, at a flea market, this little Pong device. And she plugged it into the television, and I was obsessed. I couldn't get enough of it. Video games like Pac-Man, but at home. Just for a frame of reference now, when Pong was brand new, we complained about console prices. Oh my God, the Scorpio's are $800. Oh my God, the PlayStation 4 is $400. $500 for the Xbox One with Kinect. Pong, when it launched at the time, sold for about $300. Just in for translation, that's like $850, $900 now. $900 for Pong, people. It was a strange and terrible time. But eventually, the Atari 2600 went on sale when I was a little older. It was just before the big gaming crash that Atari led to, and we all blame E.T. for that, by the way, which is just as bad as you think that game is, by the way. I played that new. I had a friend who begged for that for Christmas, loved the movie. I gotta have that game. Oh my God, that game is bad. But she set that Atari 2600 down in front of me, and that was either the best or worst thing that has ever happened to me. The best because, man, I have been playing video games on a daily basis since, literally 3 minutes before walking in the door, I was playing PewDiePie's new mobile game, which is surprisingly good for a mobile game. But ever since, I've had just about every console I could afford, every console I could get my hands on. These retro games, to me, were new at some point. And every once in a while, I'll see a game like Perfect Dark on the shelf at one of these cons, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's that game that just came out that I haven't got around to playing yet 20 years later. But those games are still kind of new to me. And so, I don't know. Retro gaming to me is just gaming, and I love it, man. I do love the renaissance that we're having right now. I love the fact that Nintendo's new NEX, or NX, may be recapturing some of the older game styles. We're seeing their mobile games, their mobile properties, or their properties come to mobile games. And I would love that maybe one day we'll actually see an NES emulator by Nintendo on our mobile phones. What a world would we be living in? I bought Super Mario World now some 17 times across the Wii, the Wii U, the 3DS. I'll buy it again on mobile. Call me Nintendo, we'll do it. But that's pretty much me with my history of video games. So if you have any questions about any of these games, I probably played it at some point. If you have any questions about gaming in general today, it's still my lifeblood. I eat, breathe, and sleep video games. I fell asleep playing Hearthstone actually in bed with my tablet. And if you have any questions about YouTube in general, or what it's like, you want to talk a little bit about being a person of size or dealing with my eating disorders, the incredible back pain I had today, or just anxiety, depression, whatever it is, man. I'm an open book. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to talk about literally anything. So who's got some questions? Right there.
Let me find the question.
Oh, she's going to notes.
Oh,
Her
no,
phone.
it's not me. It's
Okay,
for my little brother. He couldn't make it here, so he's working
So-
overnight, and so he had.
All right, I've written this out essay form, so
Yeah.
here it is in 19
I was
parts.
texting him today, and I'm like, question, and he's like, I can't think of anything. It's like 50 million things, so it's nice. But he wanted to say, how does it feel to be an inspiration to your viewers and help them keep going, keep motivating them to lose the weight that they've been struggling
Yay.
to work on and their depression?
Oh, so wait, what exactly is the question?
So the question is, I guess it's like, how does it feel to be an inspiration to your viewers and help them keep down the weight of the world pressing down on them?
Oh, it's the best feeling in the world. And I got to tell you, the people have taken the time to tell me over this weekend. I had one young girl burst into tears. I met her yesterday, which is very unusual, but so welcome. What an incredible feeling to know that me talking about my problems, which is obviously very beneficial to me. I mean, you guys, especially on YouTube, YouTube's my therapy. I've been in therapy for years. It's because I can turn on my camera and talk about what's bothering me via a rambling video, and not only does it help you guys a little bit, but boy does it help me. But the fact that I'm able to encourage you. When I started YouTube, all I wanted to be was a bad example. I wanted to serve as the bad example. I was like, hey, don't screw up your life the way I screwed up mine. And somehow, throughout the years, by putting in a little extra work and a little bit of extra effort, and especially with your help, I think I might have turned out to be a good example, which is weird. I'm still not used to that. But it's the best feeling in the world, man. And it makes me feel a lot better about myself, which is making the challenges I'm facing so much easier. Like the fact that I inspire you is secondary to me because of how much you guys inspire me. Like you're fixing me slowly, but you guys are helping me undo a lot of this damage I've got going on. So thank you for that. I really appreciate you guys for that. Who else? Right there in the back. Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I have something for you.
Oh, yay.
Better not be a bomb.
Please don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me.
It's
Whoa.
Crystal Pepsi. Just
Man,
for
I
you.
gotta tell you this stuff. Oh God, I gotta tell you this stuff. It was not in. Thank you for this, man. Thank you so much. This stuff was not available in the small southern town I lived in when it was new, and when SNL was doing its crystal clear gravy parodies and stuff like that. And so I got one bottle of it once. We were a Coca-Cola family. We were a Coca-Cola town and a Coca-Cola bottler. How dare you bring that poison in our neighborhood? To Fayetteville and found it in a store once. And I drank one bottle of it and went, wow, that's my new drink of choice. Off the market 3 days later. I couldn't believe it. And so now that I did have one of these when it first came back up, and I'm really trying to cut back on actual soda, so I tried not even to finish it. It's as good as I remember, man. It's crazy. I can't believe that they brought that back in part because of who was it? LA Beast? Was it LA Beast?
Yes.
That drank a 20-year-old bottle and threw up all over the place. But that brought it back to national attention.
And he's gonna run across America eventually.
Right. Yeah, I can't believe that happened. It was awesome. I would not drink a 20-year-old bottle, but I will probably drink this. Oh, right here.
Can you give us a follow-up on what you found out about the advertiser-friendly content problems with monetization?
Oh,
I haven't been able to hear a definitive answer on that yet.
all right, so, boy, I know my camera's right here, so I'm almost nervous to say some of the things I'm going to say here, but, so, as objective as I can possibly be, I try to understand things from YouTube's perspective. And we'll talk about YouTube's perspective first, and then we'll talk about the effect that it has on us. For those of you who don't know, YouTube has always been the beck and call of its advertisers. It's got to keep its advertisers happy, because if you don't keep the advertisers happy, you can't keep the creators happy, and then if the creators aren't happy, nobody's doing anything, right? And as long as the advertisers are still paying, there's going to be somebody that will create content for YouTube, even if it is just more toy unboxings and kid fluff and all happy, sunshine, smiley stuff. The problem is the world and YouTube has not always been sunshine and happiness. So they decided to start non-monetizing the videos that aren't sunshine and happiness and instead focus on the ones that are. And this allows advertisers to feel more comfortable about advertising on YouTube because they know their videos are going to show up on Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, and they may not necessarily show up on my video griping about whether or not the new Ghostbusters will be good. You obviously don't want to put a Ghostbusters advertisement in front of my video saying this movie sucks, right? Like, that makes sense. So from YouTube's perspective, if they can filter out the videos that are not advertiser friendly and can assure the advertisers that you'll only appear on the Happy Sunshine videos, those advertisers will pay more money. And they pay 3, 4, 10, 15 times as much to appear during an episode of Jimmy Fallon's show than they will to advertise on a Jimmy Fallon video, because they don't feel the viewers engaged, they don't feel that YouTube is a safe environment, they don't want to spend real money there. And that means we're working for a fraction of what some of the people in the entertainment industry are working for. And this is supposed to fix that. That's YouTube's perspective. My perspective as a creator is that I don't like talking about sunshine and kitties and happiness all the time. I like talking about reality. And sometimes an advertiser unfriendly word like depression makes its way into my content. Or an advertiser unfriendly word like weight loss medication, which is a video that has had demonetized this week because I was talking about it, starting a new weight loss drug. These types of things are things that I think it's important to talk about. It sucks that when I turn on the camera and I want to talk to you about that, I have to make an educated decision of whether or not I'd rather shut up, play the game the way they want me to play it, and get paid, or do this for free in an effort to help you guys and waste a day's revenue. I don't think they really understand that. I don't think they really understand that a lot of the things that we can say that's not advertiser friendly isn't actually harmful, but is actually helpful. And I guess at the end of the day, I realize that I will make that type of content regardless of whether or not I'm getting compensated for it. And you've got people like Philip DeFranco who find other ways to get compensated for being able to talk about the things that he feels is important to talk about. There's always a way around it, but YouTube is making so many decisions lately that doesn't really work on a creator's end. And they work for the Jimmy Fallons and they work for the Jimmy Kimmels, but they don't work as well for the Andres or the Omega-Sins or the Game Chasers or Boogie. At the end of the day, though, that's Jimmy Fallon does what Jimmy Fallon does to make millions. That's why Jimmy Fallon does what he does. I'm sure he pats himself on the back at the end of the day and says, I did good today. But the real reason he has his job is to make a fuck ton of money. I do what I do because it's fun, I enjoy it, I'm invigorated by it. If the money disappears tomorrow, I'm not going to stop. And I think that's the difference between me and Jimmy Kimmel. So they know they can tread on us. I think that's really it. I think they really know that they can walk around on us and we're going to deal with it because we do it not for the money, not for anything other than the passion. But obviously we still want to pay rent. Obviously we still want to put a roof over our head. A lot of us like food, and my food bill's pretty expensive. But beyond that, I think if we have that compensated for, we'll put up with whatever they make us put up with.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
It used to be, I haven't received one in a long time, but it used to be they gave you the deadly red X copyright strike.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't seem like I'm hearing that from anybody anymore. It's just more that they're taking people's monetizations.
Well, originally, that was the original plan, is that, look, we promise you, music industry, if somebody uses one of your songs, we'll strike their channel.
Yeah.
And they only get 3 strikes for it taken away. And the first strike is super damaging. In fact, it could even take away monetization altogether if they dare to do that. So I think they eventually got the music industry and the movie industry to realize that wouldn't it just be better if you got money and they still got to do their thing, but you got paid for their work? And obviously, the music industry is desperate for money right now, so I think that's why it's shifted in that direction. It's easier just to collect off of our labor than it is to make us stop doing what we're doing and hope to sell records. But what a crazy world it is, because I'm an old man. And if I could have played a record, if I could have played 8 seconds of a snippet of a song for an audience of 100,000 people, they would have paid me millions to do that years ago. Now they fight me. Oh, don't you dare use 8 seconds of our song, you son of a bitch. What a crazy world. What a crazy world. I can't understand it. Like, even Francis is like, I can't figure these fucking people out. Excuse my language, by the way, there will be lots of that today. Because I am terribly vulnerable. So, how about right over here? Yeah, you sir.
What made you so interested in collecting Skylanders?
Man, I love the character design originally. Spyro's, I love Spyro. Spyro's awesome. I don't really like what they've done with Spyro, but I enjoyed Spyro from the beginning. And that's what made me want to look into the line of toys. And the more I saw their character designs, the more interested I was. It's like I found myself just looking at Walmart going, wonder what this guy does in a video game. Wonder what this guy does in a video game. And I tried Amiibos to start and started collecting Amiibos, which I have the complete collection. I'm a terrible person. But I ran out of Amiibos to collect, and I'm like, well, I should finally try to get these weird Skylanders and see what they do in game. And believe it or not, as I don't know, it's not as well-rounded or hardcore as those games could or should be. They're not bad for what they do. All of the arena modes are fantastic. And I just, for whatever reason, man, just popping that toy on to see what kind of abilities he has and leveling them up, this feels so good for some reason. You ever tried it? You like it yourself? They're okay. They're okay. Right? I would rather, I'm waiting for the Amiibo game that does that. Like, where's the Amiibo game that I can make Donkey Kong and Mario? I guess that's just Smash Brothers. But where's the Skylanders version for Amiibos, right? Like, make me that game so that I can use all of my Amiibos in the same game. I would be the happiest fat kid in school, man. I'd be like a kid in a candy shop. How about right here?
I just wanted to say about the, the censorship and what's going on with this. I think that it's going to cause a kind of a domino effect for some people to do something like self-censor. And do you think that will stifle creativity, one, and with content that we're all able to,
Absolutely.
And then, second of all, I mean, this is just, I think it's an attack on freedom of speech. It's kind of like a roundabout way how they're all trying to get us to all be PC. It's a bigger agenda than just YouTube, and it's just mind-blowing and staggering how they're messing up entertainment.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, so let's take that piece by piece. All right. First off, every time we talk about this, we mention freedom of speech, but it's very important to remember that freedom of speech is a part of our governmental system that says the government will not enforce, keep you from speaking freely. YouTube isn't the government. So YouTube ultimately can do whatever the hell they want. And if they only want people under 5'2" to create content on the network, they're perfectly allowed to do that. If they only want to keep straight white men named Bill, that's something they are capable of. Only straight white men named Bill with blue hair are allowed to speak on our network. That's entirely up to them. I don't think they'll ever be so stupid. But I think you're right in that we're seeing. I'm an old man, right? So I went through the very, very kind of the 70s, which were very, very liberal, right? And that's when I was a very, very small child. In the 80s, we saw the pendulum swing back to a slightly more conservative time, and that persisted throughout the 90s with your Tipper Gore and your parents' advisories on albums and your censoring of music. Then the pendulum swung the other way for a while in the early 2000s, where comedians could say and do whatever the hell they wanted to do. You could put whatever you wanted to on television. And we had complete freedom of speech on the internet. You could say or do whatever you wanted perfectly freely. Now the pendulum is swinging back in this other direction, as it always does. And you're seeing comedians ostracized on college campuses. You're seeing YouTubers being told to not say certain things. And you're seeing YouTube influence its muscles by saying we won't monetize certain things.
The other thing is that I thought there should have been a better solution is to give the advertisers an option.
Right, that's exactly right.
That's a better solution than just demonetizing the video. Some people want as many eyes on their product or whatever is possible. They don't care what the people are saying, as long as it gets seen by millions.
Well, that's where doing brand deals. I know nobody likes brand deals to some extent, unless you're a YouTuber. Then you really like brand deals. And the reason brand deals are so good is because we're not at the mercy of YouTube anymore. For example, I do brand deals with Loot Crate every month. Loot Crate is my biggest performer. I know the people at the company were like this. I mean, I got them on speed dial, and they care a lot about me. I care a lot about them. And when this whole advertiser-friendly thing came up, I reached out to my friend Doc, and I'm like, hey, man, are you worried about the type of content I put on my channel? Hell no. We'll always have your back. And when you choose to watch sponsored content like that, you're sending the message that YouTube can't shut these guys up. If you watch Philip DeFranco's show, I'm going to mention him a lot because right now he's kind of a pioneer in this area, really pushing the edge of the envelope in a very positive way, I think. But you look at him, he's got sponsors who promise that no matter what you say in your show, politics, suicide, news events, world events, doesn't matter, we've got your back, we'll sell shirts for you, we'll sell stuff with you. And that is, I think, YouTube can never fully control the message until they just start banning people, which is something they're never really willing to do. And then, of course, there's the fact that, sure, a lot of us are getting paid for YouTube, but many of you are not. And you can never shut up the guy who doesn't care about money. You can never shut up the guy who cares about his principles more than he does making a couple bucks. And that's fortunately DeFranco. That's fortunately me. It's fortunately, I think, at the end of the day, the majority of YouTubers. I think only very few will ever choose to self-censor. I choose to self-censor in the respect that I have to ask myself, can I sleep with what I said tonight? Like if I say this on YouTube, I'll record a video and I'll watch it again and I'll be like, I don't think I'll sleep very well if I have said it that way, so I'll do a reshoot then. But money's never the reason I censor myself, and I don't think it ever will be. How about, right here, you had your hand up for a while.
First of all, can you do a warble for me, please?
Oh yeah. I've been doing that since I was a teenager, and then, I don't know, somebody's like, you should do something funny on stream when you get a subscriber. I'm like, that's a thing I do.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I go to the University of North Texas, it's just up the road.
Oh, nice.
And we're doing a show, the Communications Performance Studies group, in this show where we analyze mental and physical trauma and using comedy to kind of get through that. So I was kind of wondering your take on that, how you personally have, used comedy as an outlet.
Oh man, jeez. Wow, well I guess we're getting right into the dark stuff at the beginning of this. For those of you watching on YouTube at home, sorry. Yeah, at a very young age, that's how I really started cutting edge. But I prefer to talk about, if I can, let's talk about Steve Colbert for a moment, who said that when he was growing up, his father passed. And that made his mother very, very sad. And after a few months after he passed, he never heard his mom laugh, he never heard her smile, but eventually he made a joke and it made her laugh, and it was the first time she laughed in a while. And he thought, the only thing I can do here to help is to be funny. And that's why Stephen Colbert became funny. And he said the reason he was so good at doing the character, I'm paraphrasing here, so you may look this up to make sure that I got it right. He said the reason he became so good at pretending to be the Colbert character was because he got so good at pretending to be happy when he was young. And I really connected to that and really felt the same way. One of the times I was very young and that I was being very witty, that helped me in a very bad situation. My mother was on one of her tirades and physically abusing me and mentally abusing me. And she goes, you're a son of a bitch. And I'm like, well, I can't argue with that. Well, I blacked out and came back 2 days later in a stretcher, but that shit's funny. But that tool where I tried to find the humor and the darkness of the family situation, that tool extended into high school where I was socially awkward and weird because I did not know how to socialize because I wasn't learning it at home. And that extended into when I went to Upward Bound as a teenager, I was the funny kid in Upward Bound. I was the funny fat kid. And that was way better than being the shy, abused kid that I've been for the 16 years prior. And, or even to some extent, sometimes the bully. I was a bit of a bully in middle school. And humor, I think, is really the great equalizer. When you're faced with existential truths, one of my favorite Twitter accounts is Nihilist Arby's. If you guys are unfamiliar with Nihilist Arby's, it's the best thing because, we are all going to die. We're all decaying sacks of matter. Eat at Arby's. It doesn't matter, right? That sense of humor, I think it is the biggest coping mechanism. And I think that when you talk to comedians, especially the really good ones, the funniest ones, the best, the most successful, they all have that darkness inside of them. I go back to, here's the other person I'll mention all the time is Bo Burnham. And I know most of what he does is a stage persona. You'll never actually know the real Bo, but his stage persona is so dark. That's darkness has to come from somewhere. But that's why he's so absurdly funny to me, because I can relate to where that darkness, that comedy comes from, and I love it. How about right here in the middle back?
Me?
Yeah.
All right. You were the first person that kind of introduced me to YouTube, and I didn't take your advice whenever you said don't start a YouTube channel, and I started one. So there's no money in it, by the way. He is correct.
It is a labor of love for a real long time.
I love it. Anyway, I just wanted to ask, I'm going to bring it back from the darkness. Sorry, everyone. But I I know you like Magic and you're into Pokemon now. I just recently figured out that there's a Final Fantasy trading card game coming
Really?
out.
Yes.
And about 2 weeks this month, I had no idea. And I want to know if you're, I don't know, interested or.
I'll try just about every
It's
card
supposed to
game
be
there
like
is.
Magic.
Right. Well, there's a lot of Magic clones going around right now. Like Hex is supposed to be pretty good, and then Force of Will is supposed to be pretty good, and they're
Yeah.
all variations of the same. And so I will dabble with all of these games. Magic the Gathering is the only one that ever really spoke to me, and I think a lot of it had to do with just the detail of the worlds that they create and that kind of stuff. So Final Fantasy obviously would be one I would have to try, because if I can race chocobos in a card game, I'm a happy fat kid, right? But yeah, the reason I got into Pokemon is it's so vastly different from Magic in that, Magic's all about building the army and all about card interactions and all about how you have things kind of go together. And that's still true when it comes to Pokemon, but most of the games of Pokemon I play, especially on the app, are here is my giant Mewtwo with 6 energy on it and 2 tools, and I will crush your Charizard. It is so violent and aggressive and good. And especially on the app, the effects make it seem big and splashy. And I don't know, that it really gets the that part of me that with Magic, I'm what they call a spike. I'm very interested in the best cards doing exactly what they're supposed to do. And in Pokemon, I'm in the weirdest cards that do just the weirdest crap and coming up with the weirdest interactions that game can allow. But yeah, I'll try every card. I've literally played every card game that they ever, like even back in the day with, you guys won't even recognize these things, Spellfire, the D&D card game that they put out right after Magic came out, or Wyvern, God, that game was not good, or Richard Garfield's original print of Netrunner before it became a living card game, which I never could get in the living card game. That game is okay, but yeah, well, how about right here? Yeah.
What do you think of what Daybreak has done with EverQuest, including the new expansion, which is a return to Kunark on Empires of Kunark? And secondly, is there any other MMO that you would recommend for people besides, I know you're a big WoW fan,
Right.
and you're big on Legion, but aside from those two, is there anything else out there worth somebody's time and effort and whatever money you may require?
Okay, first off, let's talk about Daybreak Entertainment, or as I like to call them, Game Break Entertainment. I can't believe. First off, the fact that they canceled EverQuest Next kills me inside. Thank you for ruining my childhood. Secondly, also thank you for allowing me to continue to live not in front of my computer for a while, though. It's kind of a cursed blessing, honestly. But secondly, the damage they did to H1Z1 as a game, the damage they did to EverQuest Next, the damage they've done to EverQuest as a property is mind-boggling. And they kept on, it's my understanding they kept on about half of the original Sony Online Entertainment team, but they're skeletal crew barely able to create anything. And so the next expansion is like a revamp of Kunark, you said, right?
Yeah, with a little bit of EverQuest and EverQuest 2 properties, because the art team has to do everything for every game.
And then like I heard from somebody yesterday that Trackanon won't be in the expansion, which was the entire point of the expansion, other than it's so weird. I appreciate them for how much work they do for such a little staff. But the owner of Daybreak Entertainment, I would like to put him in a room with Francis for about 5 minutes and just see who comes out. I am so frustrated with that company. I'm so frustrated with that guy. I definitely started playing Legion again, and Legion is a right mix of hardcore and casual where I can really enjoy it. And World of Warcraft's new expansion, Legion. I've been told Guild Wars 2 is amazing, and I played it at launch. It was okay. I've heard Elder Scrolls Online has gotten better, but I haven't tried it. And then the Final Fantasy 14 game continues to just be amazing, especially if you're to the Final Fantasy world. If you're looking for an MMO, those are the ones right now to try, I think. But if you ever played World of Warcraft, I think now is a really good time to come back, because Legion is kind of like a love letter to those of us who used to love that game. Like it feels like an actual advancement, but it's got that Wrath of the Lich King feel to it, where everything is important and the storyline is important, and you are part of the storyline, not just a product of it, or not just, like it feels like you are the person. And you're not sitting alone in the garrison playing a Facebook game all day. So that's nice too, like Warlords are doing. But those are the games I'd recommend. Let's try somebody on this side of the room. How about right here?
Do you foresee some videos from Jesse coming up, and do you mind doing a little bit?
Woo! Let me tell you something. All right. So let's do a little bit of Jesse. Here's why I haven't done Jesse, because I'm about to get most of you to walk out of this room right now.
I'll tell you something, man. I watched that first presidential debate, and
Hell, I don't know what to think. First off, Trump, or should I call him inter-Trumption, I guess. The point I'm making is let the moderator talk, Trump. He was a hell annoying. You remember Ross Perot, and he got in all that trouble just saying, let me finish? I mean, he interrupted one damn time. Trump interrupted every damn time. That's the difference to me. But then you got Hillary Clinton up there. She sounds like a damn Terminator reading a Bernie Sanders speech. It's the same damn words, Hillary, but you gotta mean them. You gotta mean them, Hillary. But anyway, that's what I would be doing with Jesse right now. But unfortunately, I think that we as Americans have become more tolerant than we've ever been, which seems a little counterintuitive, so let me explain. I think we're less homophobic. I think we're less racist. I think we're less sexist. I think we're less fat shaming. I think we're less hateful of people who are different than us. Probably, it's always been here, and it's always going to be here to some extent, but I think it's gotten better. The one thing that I think, the last real prejudice, and I'm borrowing this from someone I heard the other day, but I cannot attribute the quote, the last great prejudice that we have in this country is we don't like people who disagree with us. And if somebody says something that we don't agree with, we cast them aside, we throw them away, we flush them away, because we would rather get rid of that person than to consider their ideas worthy. We only want to talk to people that agree with us, the people who do not challenge us. Very few people will get outside of that box. And on the internet, we search out for people that feel the same as us, and in real life we do the same thing. And so the people that disagree with Jesse is everybody, because he's supposed to be the moderate redneck. That's the whole joke. But the problem is moderation seems extreme to extremists. And so every extremist on either side attacks that character and consequently attacks me for doing the character. And I'm just like, not during this election, man. Let them shoot each other. I'm going to talk about Pokemon cards. Because I would like to sleep. How about right here?
Yeah. Are you excited for the Crash Bandicoot remasters, and how do you feel about it being on Skylanders?
First off, can I say, did you play Uncharted 4 by chance?
Yes, sir.
That Crash Bandicoot cameo in that game, my favorite part of the game. Didn't even finish Uncharted 4. That's what I'll always remember for. I'd love to play some Crash Bandicoot again. I'm hoping the remasters are good. Until a remaster's in my hand though, I never trust them to be worth it. But I trust that company. It is being done by Naughty Dog, right? They are doing the remaster? Are they actually? So I mean, if that's the case, those people can do no wrong, honestly. You know, if they put out a mobile game, I'd download it that day, I wouldn't think. Who else? Let's see. Who's had their hand up a long time? I feel bad for us. How about all the way right there? Coke can.
All right. So I was wondering, with all this stuff, all the like rumors going around, like the NX and whatnot. Some people say, oh, it's going to be as strong as the PS4. Some people say it's going to be weaker than the PS4. Some people say it's going to be like a tablet with touchable controllers.
Right.
In the end, it's all just rumors, and you have to take it with a pinch of salt. But what do you believe?
I believe that regardless of how powerful the machine is, if Nintendo doesn't get on board with YouTubers, it doesn't get on board with content creators, if it doesn't get on board with the people who want to advertise their product for free, it was guaranteed to be a failure. That's the first thing I think. The second thing I think is that they need to get on board with third-party developers and stop making it such a hassle. It's my understanding that this architecture is not x86. It's their own architecture again for some.
Tegra X1, the NVIDIA chip.
Okay, right, okay. So, I mean, if they need to make their product easy to code for, and they need it to be easier for me to create content for them so that I can advertise their product for free for them. They really need to start to move in that direction. That said, they always put out underpowered consoles, and they have since the beginning of time. They always will, with the exception, I guess, of the NES. And it's reasonable to expect to want to sell your console at either break even or profit, and that makes sense, especially from their perspective. I don't know if I would ever care whether or not it's Breath of the Wild, the new Zelda game, right? It's Breath of the Wild, is that it? I don't care if that's 900p or 1080p or 720p. I don't care, man. I just want to live in that world. And it can either be 1080p or 4K or 720 or 900, which it's rumored to be. And that's plenty for me, right? Like, who in this room is going to be like, well, it's the best Zelda game that was ever created, and it was open world, and I put 140 hours into it, but it could have been a little sharper. Who's that person, right? I don't want to be that person. But I'm hoping that it turns out to be a good console. I've talked to 2 people who've used it. One is somebody from Ubisoft, and he said programming for it is actually really nice, and Nintendo's been working very closely with them, and that the concept is great because he said you could play, well, I don't know how careful I should be here, but let's say you could play Assassin's Creed once you have your handheld plugged into your console, and then you can then detach the thing and take it with you and play the Assassin's Creed mobile game out of your pocket. And then when you get back home, plug it directly in, and now it attaches back to the, oh, that's brilliant, like, that's smart, right? Like, take a form of the game with you as you go. So he says it's a dream to code for. And then somebody I know who's played on an EX for 20 minutes, or an NX for 20 minutes, says, I keep getting, everything is the EX now that I've been playing Pokemon. Yeah. It's Pokemon EX card. He said it's as innovative as they'd hoped to, and said that we wished we had done that. Wow. Yep, so I hopefully, let's just hope Nintendo doesn't fumble. Rumored to be a Smash title at the launch. There's rumored to be a Pokemon game for it almost right away. What a world we could be if Nintendo could get back on top. I'd be so happy. Let's see, right here in the front, third row, right there.
I asked this last year, but will you do a live Francis Friends?
Will I do a live one?
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah, of course. So, let's see here. We got to do something.
All right, guys, look. I want to talk about something, if it's okay. And I know I'm not supposed to talk about politics, all right? But I just want to say that Donald Trump, more like a one-pump chump, you know what I'm saying? And Hillary, more like Shillery, okay? All right, Bernie Sanders, yeah, I felt a burn when you endorsed her. You're with her, well, I'm with anybody else, okay? Let me tell you something else, all right? I'm just tired of hearing about it. Everybody on my Facebook is talking about, oh, I'm with her, I'm with anybody else. Oh, I'm with him. Oh. You know what? Let me tell you something, okay? I'm showing up to the polls, but I'm going to flip the fucking booth. That's what I'm going to do. All right, neither of these idiots are going to represent me. Who's with me?
Thank you. There you go. Love it. Green shirt right there.
Yeah, so with the index coming out, how likely do you think it is that it'll be a system that you can take with you on a 12-hour flight to Tokyo?
Nintendo's always been really good at battery. I bought her a 3DS a couple years back, and I don't think we touched it for 8 months, and I turned it on, and it still had 50% battery. So, speaking of which, I think it's entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible to get it right.
I actually had multiple batteries for the PSP because it was back in 2012. Went to Tokyo for about 9 days, but I have noticed that 3DS. I hadn't touched it in a while. I powered back on, and it works. And on the 10-hour flight to London, I didn't really have that much of a problem with the batteries. So.
Yep, I really hope that they get that right with the NX. I don't know about you, but man, I like who actually owns a Wii U in this room besides me? Oh wow, holy moly, that's crazy. Okay, you guys do love Nintendo, don't we? We do love that company. Like, despite, it's like an abusive mother, I'm telling you. I know this from it's like Nintendo just slaps you across the face and says, stop making Mario Maker videos. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mom, I just love you so much. Why is that company like that? But we do love Nintendo, even if they hate us so much. But I do genuinely believe that the NX has a real opportunity here. I will tell you, though, and I hope Nintendo keeps this in mind, they have to woo the media the way PlayStation 4 did, the way Xbox One did, the way PlayStation... I mean, let's be honest, when PlayStation 4 played us, they played us, man. They knew exactly what they were doing, the way they marketed, the way they got YouTubers involved, me included. I mean, they did it, and Xbox has tried to catch up on that front by working with YouTubers and helping out people. And if Nintendo continues to have its eye for YouTubers and continues to have its eye for the media and expects people to just like their consoles, we'll still buy one begrudgingly, but wouldn't it be better if it was the cool thing to do? You know, I want to be back in that world. I want to be back in that world. What's up, man?
I love you.
I love you. You want to come make out here for me? No, better not. You better not. Save that for after. Save that for after. Who else? Sonic. Ice cream.
Alright, so what, we probably get all sorts of comments on your videos. So what is probably your top, well, I'll just say, what's your favorite comment you've ever gotten?
You're fat misspelled. No, no, that's just the most common one. Man, you know, there's so many good comments that I like. My negative mind used to look at only the negative comments, and I could swing past 50, 100 positive comments, but the one guy's like, kill yourself, you know, KYS. That used to be what stuck out of my mind. In the last year or so, I managed to do a bit of a 360 on it, and the number of positive comments that have been getting left in the last year seem to have either doubled or quadrupled, or maybe I'm just more aware of them than ever. But thank you guys for all the incredibly kind things you've had to say. That is what I pay the most attention to these days. And to pick one of those is almost impossible. I've had, I've spoken with people that have, probably one of my favorite stories, and this did start with a comment, but I don't remember the exact comment. But somebody left a comment, and I wrote him via the YouTube app, the YouTube message box years and years ago. But he was a soldier who got wounded in Afghanistan or Iraq. I can't remember exactly where, but apparently their vehicle rolled over one of those IUDs, the bombs in the ground in the middle of the road, blasted up under the car, put shrapnel in his brain. And he is in the rehab center for months and months and months and months, and he can't speak and he can't move his own limbs. He's barely able to feed himself, and he's horribly aware of all of this, right? He's trying to communicate, and they're trying to teach him how to communicate without being able to use his mouth, without being able to do anything, without being able to talk. And they're mostly trying to get his motor functions going again after removing the shrapnel from the brain. And he said one day somebody put his laptop in front of him, and he said, I used to watch a little bit of YouTube, because YouTube was kind of newish at the time, so I used to watch a little bit of YouTube back in the day, and I hit play, I went to YouTube, this is right after he got some motor control of his hand, and he goes to YouTube, and he stumbles across the Francis video, and he said, that's like the first time I felt something like a laugh in a really long time, and it made sense to me. And even though I couldn't really understand the words he was saying, he said he was having difficulty even processing the words that were being said to him. He said that even though I couldn't understand the words that Francis was using, who can with that accent, right? But without Liz, but he says I understood the physical comedy of it, and the physical comedy I love. So I watched these videos over and over and over and over again, and I would lead me to other parts of YouTube. But I kept coming back to the Francis character, and he goes, eventually I started understanding what the character was saying, and I knew I was recovering. And eventually I learned to speak again watching your videos. And he got the majority of his motor function back. I think he walks with a cane now. He's got the majority. He eventually, by the time that, obviously we're talking about this, he was typing a letter out and explaining all this to me. What an amazing thing. You think about you're creating a video, and I think only the truly narcissistic people think, oh, I'm doing this to make money, right? You're doing it to entertain people. That's something I think is so important to remember. You never realize how useful that can be to people, even if you're just dealing with the day-to-day perils of working a 9-to-5 job and just living a life, raising a family, or trying to pay your damn bills. It's nice to distract people from that. But when you can help somebody in that way, or more importantly, I spoke with, well, not more importantly, but in a different vein, I spoke with an author last night who said that he was wanting to write about a heavyset character dealing with some of the emotions and stuff that come with that. And he said that he would routinely go back to my rambling videos to make sure the realism was there in what he was writing. And that's amazing, that's crazy. You never think that you're impacting people's lives that way, but apparently we do. And that is such a privilege and an honor to hear stories like that. So thank you for letting me be in your lives. It means the world to me. How about right there, Deadpool, yep.
Years ago, South Park did a parody of some popular YouTube videos. If they ever contacted you about doing a parody of you, would you be open to that?
Matt and Trey, please call me. All I know is Matt and Trey. I walked by, I guess it was Matt, or no, it was probably Trey. I don't remember which one. It was at the Game Awards that year. But I was within feet of the dude, and I just wanted to grab him and be like, "You're the best!" But I didn't do it. But I would. No, they've never contacted me. I do occasionally get, True TV reaching out, and we want to use one of your clips. The media will reach out to use a clip. I think we just heard from Adam Ruins Everything, that show on College Humor, they may use one of my clips and stuff like that. But no, nothing as big as South Park. If those guys could even acknowledge my existence for 1 second, I would be happy, because their style of comedy is my style of comedy. Their politics is very similar to my politics all the time, which is screw politics. I think that's officially politics, right? So, but yeah, I love those guys. Nope, unfortunately, but hopefully one day. Put it right here in the front.
All the systems ever released that you've played, what is your favorite system, handheld or what kind of console?
Well, generally it's. I mean, let's just be honest now. I think these days it have to be PC, right? I'm definitely PC master race kind of guy, without all this snotty elitism as part of that, right? But if I have to pick a retro console, man, it's got to be the NES. Because what a game changer that was. And I don't know that you guys can really realize what a drastic jump from Atari 2600, and obviously there's ColecoVision and a few other retro systems that did like the arcade style graphics, but even to go from arcade to Super Mario Brothers or Duck Hunt or Contra, like those games look good today still. I can't believe how good those games look. The NES was a game changer, but not only was it that, but it saved gaming in America. I mean, that hobby was absolutely dying when that console made its way over, not as a gaming console, but as a toy. Marketed towards boys for some reason. That was always so weird to me. But it was originally marketed as a boys' toy. It went to the boys section of the toy section, not the electronics section. It's so weird. But yeah, love my NES. My wife just bought me one for her birthday a year ago, and I haven't had the time to boot it up, but I stare at it every day and I'm like, man, I really want to play those games. Yeah. Look, I haven't done this out of the room in a while. How about all the way there in the back?
Is there anything that you'd like to see from the indie dev community? How do you feel about where indies are right now?
Again, I talk about this every year that we're here, and I think that it's an incredible world we live in, that you can self-publish anything. If you can sing, you can buy the equipment at Best Buy to film a professional album and sell it on iTunes right now. And if you are a video creator or a vlogger or a YouTuber, you can even use your phone, which is in your pocket, to create videos that people will consume on YouTube. And indie devs can download software that makes it easy to create a game and have that game show up on mobile within a few days later or a few weeks later on Steam. It's an incredible world. And some of the people that have poured their heart into some games like Cities, Skyline, or some of these other incredible indie games that we played in the last few years, holy moly, I mean, it's amazing. What I want from the indie community is I feel like, I look at Rocket League as a perfect example. That's something that nobody knew they wanted until we have it, and now we have it, and I want more of it. I wish that the people that are making video games right now weren't looking at the other things that are already successful and then just make a clone of that. I wish they would look at the things that have never been successful or used to be successful and we don't do anymore. How are there not more Dungeon Keeper games? How the hell is War of the Overworld, which ultimately failed as a launch, how is that the only attempt we've had at Dungeon Keeper in 20 years? Are you kidding me? You're killing me. Give me some more Dungeon Keeper games. I'm sorry, I just really want a Dungeon Keeper game. It's so bad. That is my favorite series of all time. I'm so sad that EA owns it. I'm so sad that EA only wants to do a mobile game with it. And it's up to the indie developers to rescue us. And when you do it, I will buy it. I'll play it on every channel I have. I will pimp it out. Make me a good Dungeon Keeper game. Right here.
All right, this is going to be a very polarizing topic.
Woo!
What is your stance on emulation? Because, where do you draw the line between piracy and preservation? Because realistically, games won't last forever. Consoles will break.
One of the things that's really interesting to me is that the majority of games that have come out in the last decade cannot be emulated. The majority of the ones that are hosted on a server, games as a service like EA, it's so frustrating to me to know that this era of gaming, modern gaming, which is actually really good, probably will not be able to exist in a retro style. You will look back at this period of games as a dark age because they were all on a server somewhere and you can never recapture it and never replay it. How devastatingly frustrating is that? But that said, when it comes to emulation, I mean, obviously I'm a big fan of having a way to play a game that for a game that I currently own, or for someone like me, I bought Super Mario Brothers a long, long time ago. Let me emulate it now. I bought it when it was new for $80 for God's sakes, okay? And that was 1980s money, so that's like $120 now. All right? It's okay to let me emulate that game. I love the fact that Nintendo gives me a chance to emulate it professionally on their devices for $5. That's a pretty damn good deal. I hope they even get cheaper and cheaper as they continue to do that. I think that most of the people that create games need to get, and you're seeing it now too with stuff like the Rare Replay. Oh, how incredible was that? Like, that was amazing. I'm all for emulation if the company that originally made the game, originally owns that license, originally owns that property, has an opportunity to profit from it. When it comes to emulating for free, if there's no company around left to earn money from it, or if there is no license holder anymore, if it's impossible to earn money from it, like MAME, a multiple arcade emulator, something like that, some of those games are just lost to time. Obviously, there's no one left around to profit from them. I think it should be, and I encourage emulation of those games, because I'd rather they never be lost to time. Obviously, I'm at a RetroCon here where we're spending $180 on games like some of our favorite games of all time to get them in a physical cartridge form when we could easily emulate them. So the majority of the people in this room feel the same way I do, which is it's nice to have the physical copy. It's nice to have that. But if there is a way to emulate it that doesn't harm a copyright holder, I'm all for it. You know, like when my videos get re-uploaded to Facebook, I as a copyright holder, every once in a while I'm like, wow, I'm missing out on thousands of dollars, but I'm entertaining millions of people. Fair trade, right? All right. Well, we got time for just a couple quick more questions. So who's got fast? Let's do the rapid fire, okay? We're gonna do rapid fire. I'm gonna try to get as many people in as I can. They got to be simple questions, okay? We're gonna start from the left and we're working way right. Let's go right here.
How do you feel about the creators of No Man's Sky not responding about the things that they said were going to be in the game, but aren't doing?
Hey, Sean Murray, where are you at, Sean Murray? Oh, hey, it's going to be real unlikely that you'll be able to find somebody else in the game. I'm Sean Murray. Hey, Sean Murray, it's going to be about as unlikely as finding you in the wild after you launch your game? Why don't you tweet some, Sean Murray?
I can't blame Sean Murray because if I had that many people mad at me, I'd go into hiding too. Right here.
What are your favorite colors to play Magic?
Oh, don't make me pick. I like all five. Everything but blue. I still hate blue. Blue feels like cheating. I don't want to cheat in a game I love. Blue is cheating.
Blue's the fuck you color.
I know, that's why I hate it. I'm a nice guy, come on. I'd rather burn your face than counter your spell. How about right here?
Who is your favorite personality on your channel?
Oh man, I to this day it's always going to be Francis, right? Like people say, oh, he hasn't done a Francis video in a while, he's tired of doing it, or it's just not the same. The reason it's not the same is because there's a lot of physical comedy wrapped up in that stuff, and my back doesn't work anymore, so I can't flip as many tables, I can't break as much stuff. But if I could, that's all I would do. I love smashing stuff. It's cathartic, it's fun, it's amazing. I will always have a place in my heart for like Clifty and that stupid stuff, and even the Boogie character, which is the best version of me possible. But yeah, Francis always. How about right there with the hat?
Best and worst Magic sets.
Best of the worst? Best and worst?
Best and worst.
Time Spiral block, by far the best block of all time. Homelands was the worst. People make fun of Fallen Empires. Fallen Empires was a love letter compared to Homelands. And oh my God, what a time for Magic to be alive. They're like, oh, the game almost died right after Kamigawa. No, the game almost died after Chronicles followed by Homelands. What a nightmare. How many cards were played? It was so bad, they had to force you to play with 4 cards from Homelands on the Pro Tour just so at least one card would show up in decks from that set. Terrible time, terrible time. So how about right here?
What do you make of Sega basically losing the source code for Parents of Jargon Saga amongst other Sega Saturn games? I've noticed that there's a high demand for it and the price is up to
nothing surprises me with Sega anymore. Sega, if Sega robbed a thrift store tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised. Like how they're without a doubt of all the retro companies, they're easily the ones that have just completely lost their mind. They're kind of like that cousin who like
turns out to be schizophrenic, and you love them because they're family, but you have to put up with their shit. And he's like, oh, God's sake, what are you doing now? I'm just punching this guy. Well, just, could you not, while we're here, please punch this guy? Please sake, and just please don't put out another Sonic Boom game, please. Right here, blue shirt.
I'm sure many people that have asked you this question, but where did you get the inspiration of Francis?
I used to work part-time at a local gaming store called Gallery Champions. And it was right about the time 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons came out. And they were doing these sanctioned games where everything had to be run exactly by the rules. And as a DM, you weren't really allowed to like change anything. And we had these players who only cared about the sanctioned stuff. So they would come in and they would say things like, you can't put bullywugs in a swamp of sorrow if they're not in a sanctioned game. This is a sanctioned game, Boogie. I'm not going to have enough spell power to get through the tower if you put bullywugs there. And I'm just like, dude, we're playing D&D. Let's have fun with it, for God's sakes. No, this is not fun. It's a sanctioned game. And there was one kid there by the name of Casey who had this just very slight list. And he was the most adorable, just best person in the world. But one night, he leaves after dealing with all of these frustrating customers, and I'm just like kind of making fun of Casey, kind of making fun of a couple of the other guys that were playing D that night, and all those voices came together, and it turned out to be Francis. And my boss at the time was like, that's what you ought to put on that YouTube channel of yours. Go do that. And I did, and then Ray Wayne Johnson featured me 2 weeks later, and that was history. All the way in the back. I feel like I didn't do it in the back. This is going to be the last question, I think, right?
You got 10 minutes, but I always try to get people to stop it.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll do a couple more then. Can I get you to come up? Because my hearing isn't so good. Could you come up here and ask me? Thank you. There he is, Mr. America. What is my rapture?
So, this is a question about YouTube. How do you think that the new YouTube Heroes is going to affect your channel?
I think that I'm not the kind of channel that's going to be harassed very often. I think that my content is somewhere near the middle of the road, so I'm going to be okay. I think more opinionated people, like your Leafies and your Scarces and your Rice Gums, and maybe even people like your Philip DeFrancos and your H3s, or certainly your iDubbbz, I think those are the people that really have to worry, right? But the problem is, I feel like everyone on that list that I just mentioned, all the way, be frank, as low as Leafy, who are kind of, got her crawling a little bit on some of their content, or people as high up as Philip DeFranco is just trying to bring in the news. I think they all are within the realms of what should be allowable on YouTube. I think you're going to eventually see people in the Heroes program that have a personal vendetta or that have a political vendetta, and they're going to abuse the system. But let's hope for the best, right? Let's hope for the best. But I think either way I'm going to be okay. I'm more worried about the ad-friendly thing because I've had a couple of videos in the last week demonetized because I mentioned things like,
oh, life isn't just rainbows, kids.
how about let's do in the back right there, dead center. Yep, you. Either one of you. You with blue shirt.
How do you come up with characters, or the names for your characters?
Oh, I don't know, man. Francis just stuck. That made sense for me. I never knew of Francis or anything. Jesse. I knew a lot of Jessies growing up, spelled it the way that I spelled it too. A lot of the country boys I grew up in Southwest Virginia, there are a lot of Jessies out there going, man, I'll tell you, I love that football. It's good. Man, I'm just going to do that. People think I'm making fun of other people when I do that. The most important thing you realize is that is me growing up. That's who I was, man. My original accent is this right here. Not a lot of people don't realize it. But I had to learn how to not sound like this through watching the people on the news and trying to get rid of my accent, because otherwise I've been speaking like this the whole rest of my life. And how the hell would it sound? I just plain don't trust Xbox, y'all. Right here. Yep.
If you had the opportunity to play video games with anybody in the world, who would you want to play with?
Oh man, I've gotten to play with some great people, man. I don't know. You want to, obviously you want to say someone famous, right? That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Oh, it's not really like play with Felix or PewDiePie or Markiplier, Jacksepticeye. And then but that doesn't feel right. So I thought my friend Tyler, who suffers from a degenerative disease, stuck in a wheelchair, and some of the games that he's wanted to beat this last year, he's not been able to.
because he doesn't have full motion in his hands anymore. Oh, I'd love to just sit down and play with him, one of the games that he's wanted to play. But then I thought, well, let's get even more dark. My dad, God love him, before he got sick in the early 90s, he loved Atari 2600. There's a silly little game on Atari 2600 called Stampede. And the man loved Westerns, and he loved just the idea of Stampede, like, just looking at the box art and saying, oh, that's interesting. I like to rope cattle, and it's about as far away from actually roping cattle as it could be, but man, he loved that game. Othello, we would play Othello together. If I could once, man, just play any game with him one more time, that'd be great. Hopefully it will. If there's somewhere on the other side. Oh boy, did that get dark! Let's answer one more question. Please make it light.
Okay.
Yep, you're perfect. That's it.
Are you gonna do a Q&A video on Twitch?
I haven't done one of those in a while, but you know what? I will do one again very, very soon. I promise you. I haven't done one in a while.
Okay.
It's mostly been Pokemon cards. All right. Well, are we good? Are we done?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're done, guys. Thank you.
All right.